Hi guys, this is Klazart bringing another audio commentary. I apologize if the video quality isn't as good as usual. I'm using a small VOD from the small VOD thread by Yaki on Team Liquid, so just for the purpose of getting this out to you guys as quickly as possible. But as I was saying, I'm really looking forward to this matchup. It looks to be a great matchup, and especially considering we've got the two players in this group who have already won their respective matches first up, and are really supposed to be the front runners, especially in the MSL, to be meeting up in the finals. So in some respects, we could consider this as a preview of the fantasy final that a lot of people are looking forward to. This is Katrina. We've got C, Blue Terran at the 9 o'clock position, and Jaedong Brown Zerg at the 6 o'clock position. Jaedong, I think, had probably more difficulty than C did in his first game. He had a tough game against Savior, but he really showed that he has what it takes when the pressure is on to produce the goods. C, on the other hand, I think had a relatively easy ride. He went for an all-in build. His opponent didn't scout it, and unfortunately his opponent's build was a direct, literally played into his hands and made it very easy for C to stomp all over Backhoe. So it was a and it was a comfortable win for C. So I think he's going to be tested a little bit more here against Jaedong. I do think Katrina is an interesting map. I think with the ability to fast expand, it definitely does favor the Terran, allowing to fast. C is putting that supply depot down. It's quite typical of Terrans to block off their base by putting that supply, by building their buildings just next to that choke. So Jaedong interestingly scouting clockwise, so he's going to scouting in the right direction. So he's going to C straight up, and it'll be to see what strategy Jaedong goes for on this map. I'm sure he's going to anticipate that C will probably look to fast expand. It just depends. I mean, C has shown himself to be quite gutsy and can go for the more aggressive strategy, so Jaedong's going to have to be on his toes and not take too many risks. But it looks like Jaedong is going for the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It does look like he's going for the 12 hatch. He's sending a drone out now towards his natural expo at the 5 o'clock position, and it'll be interesting to see whether C goes for a more aggressive strategy or whether he is also looking to fast expand in this game and push down his natural command center. So Jaedong is fast expanding. I would suspect Jaedong, as he has in most games, will put down his spawning pool next. So it's just a question of what C does. Now Jaedong, very cleverly, you saw there, he just moved his overlord. He arrived at the ridge and he saw C's buildings, and what he's done is he's redirected his overlord because he doesn't want his opponent to know where his base is from the direction that the overlord is coming. He wants to deny C that extra information, and this is what players at the highest level have to do. Your average Zerg player, even at pro level, will just let that overlord float a little bit closer and maybe let the opponent see it. And Jaedong has sent the drone in now, so because he sent the drone through, C doesn't know. Jaedong's trying to get through. C is fast expanding, so C is fast. So Jaedong needs to get that drone through, trying to see where C is. It looks like Jaedong's trying to get that. Jaedong has gotten that drone through. So Jaedong's drone is through. He's going to see it, and Jaedong, immediately having seen that C is fast expanded, instead of going for a spawning pool, has straight away decided to put down a third hatchery. So Jaedong really maximizing his build, and this is the advantage a player can get, a good player can get, if they scout early. And now the problem for C is, which direction is he going to scout in? I think he will probably have an idea where Jaedong's base is once he sees that overlord, and I think he will scout in the correct direction. The reason behind this is because he knows Jaedong's overlord hasn't arrived. Actually, he hasn't seen Jaedong's overlord, so maybe it is a stroke left. If he'd seen that overlord just north of his base, that would have immediately led him to conclude that Jaedong would be the south of his base, since it wouldn't take this long for his overlord to get only that distance. So the fact that Jaedong's overlord hasn't arrived would give C an idea. I suppose it's possible that the positions are cross-map, and maybe that's a factor to consider as well. But whether it was a stroke of luck or whether it was on purpose, whatever it was, C is scouting in the right direction, so he knows exactly where Jaedong is, and he's managed to get in, and he knows what Jaedong's doing. But Jaedong's drone has been killed in C's base as well, so this looks like a macro game here, at least early on. Both players going for the 3 hatchery build. Jaedong going for the 3 hatchery build, C having committed itself with the fast expansion as well. So C's got his command center on. It'll be interesting to see which of these two players is going to macro more heavily. Now that C has gotten rid of that drone, he can do his advanced strategies behind his choke, and he is putting a second barracks down as well as a refinery. I would have thought the C would have maybe tried to tech a little bit, maybe get a factory down quickly, considering and try and get that tech advantage, considering that Jaedong has gone for the 3 hatchery build. Jaedong's put a spawning pool up, and Jaedong has started his lair tech as well. So Jaedong is teching, he started his lair tech. It'll be interesting what sort of strategy C goes for, because I can see him being pinned back here in his base, and maybe that's why he's putting the second racks down, because he realizes that Jaedong's going to be able to tech quite fast and have those mutalisks out, and that makes sense to me, because he might be worried that Jaedong's going to have those mutalisks out, and it's possible that if Jaedong can pin C down in his base and take an advantage, he he can go strong in this game. And this is something that we've also seen. The other thing I've seen here is Jaedong pulling his third hatchery next to that extractor. Now, it is obviously standard to put that third hatchery there in order to take, in order to get the maximum from that gas. But we have sometimes seen Zerg players overextending themselves and putting another base down, a fourth hatchery down, just outside their natural expo, just outside their main. And I think that's a bad idea. So Jaedong now taking both his gases and really C's fast expanding has allowed Jaedong to do this. And therefore, I'm not really sure if it's in the best interest of a Terran player to really fast expand in this game, because it allows the Zerg player to not worry too much. Jaedong's sending a drone out. He's just trying to usher that SCV away to try and stop it from seeing his drone. I'm not sure if he managed to achieve that. We'd have to see the first person view mode to know that, whether or not. And Jaedong now starting up his spars. So C's once again going to get in. This is a little bit poor by Jaedong. He's letting C get the scouting consistently, and he's trying to stop that SCV from scouting his tech buildings, but I don't think he's going to be able to. And that SCV actually dies. I'm not sure if that SCV saw the spire, because it was along the cliff line. It was along the north of Jaedong's base the whole time. So I'm not actually sure if he saw that spire. C's got an engineering bay up, so whether or not he saw it, he's still anticipating Jaedong to do something like that. Jaedong now going for the natural expo at the top right corner of the map, at the 1 o'clock position, trying to get that third gas going, rather than going for the expo closer to his base, which would be easier to defend, but would also be right in the way for C's push to come through. So it's just a question of whether C scouts or not. Aggressive scouting on large maps like this is vital for a Terran player to stop the Zerg from getting that third gas. Jaedong's now got a decent group of Zerglings. One of the problems with this map, and Jaedong trying to get those Marines cornered, they're away from the medics, and Jaedong actually managed to get a rip on those Marines. He's going to kill most of those Marines off. This is horrible for C. He's lost his first medic in Marine Force. This is really poor by C. He pulled those Marines out too far, and Jaedong with a stroke of genius, and this is what Sun Tzu says, he who wins is the person who knows when to attack and when to retreat. I'm sure those weren't his exact words, but that's the general gist of it. And Jaedong's timing of attack couldn't have been more perfect, and considering the fact that he had no way of knowing excuse me, where C's Marines were exactly, it was opportunistic. Maybe it was a stroke of luck, but great players do this time and time again. They just happen on their opponent's unit. Xavier used to do it. He used to catch enemy Marines out so many times when he was playing at his best, and it's that zone you're in. It's a state of zen that great players achieve, that they just know. And the fact that Jaedong has actually taken out that Marine group now means that his third hatchery is so much more protected, and that gives him a massive advantage in this game. And C's going to really have to struggle from pull back from this, because not only now has he surrendered the initiative to his opponent, Jaedong getting the Hydrolist Den out as well, he's got his first group of Mutalists out. Not only has he surrendered the initiative to his opponent, but now he's going to be forced to expend resources on defending against the Mutalist harass. He can't send a group of Marines out. He's going to be forced to keep all of his Marines back as well. Maybe if he hadn't lost that first group could have ventured out. It was dangerous of C, perhaps only a little, to send that group of Marines out without the protection of the medics, and Jaedong's Zerglings arriving at the precise second just before the medics popped, and C unable to get the support of his medics, and in huge trouble now. He's going to have a tough time, because those factories that he's building outside of his choke are not defended, and so Jaedong is just using those supply depots, and Jaedong's Mutalist Micro is second to none. And he can use those cliffs to his advantage. And really, to be honest, Jaedong really doesn't need to do a lot of damage. Obviously, any damage he does is going to be good, but he doesn't need to do a lot of damage here to C's economy. All he needs to do is, and C trying to get that starport up. And again, this is the problem with C having lost most of his medical means, and Jaedong is just literally polishing C off with his Mutalist here. C is in huge trouble, because now Jaedong's got Zerglings out as well. Those farm bats are going to get picked up by the Mutalist, and Jaedong is C is in huge trouble. Jaedong is just willfully slaughtering C's forces, and C unable to get that starport up. And really, this is game to Jaedong. I don't know. I think C's choice of build wasn't perfect, but I guess it could have been a different game had his first group of Mech and Marines not gotten killed. It's impossible to speculate how the game would have gone and how much of a role the build played in it. But really, again, the fact is, I've said this a million times before, you don't allow a player of Jaedong's caliber to just expand at will, to not be pressured, to just be able to do what they want and play their own game. You just don't do it against a top caliber player. The players in Pro League, the players in the top level of Pro StarCraft who put the pressure on the opponents, they're the ones who come out with the victory in the end. Jaedong is the one who put the pressure on. He sent in the Zerglings early on, caught his opponent off guard, and now he's reaping the benefits of it. And C, I mean, yes, fast expanding is a great strategy. I suppose, you can't discount the value of the scout that Jaedong has, and again, that's a roll of the dice question. And I don't want to take anything away from Jaedong, because he's played an immaculate game. He's just polishing off C like nothing here, and C's just struggling. Jaedong now with the group of Zerglings as well. He's just going to polish it off. C's managed to get that starport up, and he's managed to get the control tower up as well as the science facility. But it's too little, too late. Jaedong is just too far ahead at this point. Even if C would manage to survive this this middle-list attack, and Jaedong's got more Zerglings streaming in. That bunker is empty, even though he's managed to build it, and now he's got lurkers coming in as well. So C just desperate, but there's nothing absolutely he can do. As I was saying, I don't want to take too much credit away from Jaedong, but how different would the game have been if Jaedong had not gotten that early scout? If the positions had been different, and Jaedong didn't know that his opponent was fast expanding, hadn't been able to get that drone in before C was able to close off his choke, because C did close it off pretty quickly, and if Jaedong had been somewhere else, he wouldn't have been able to get that drone in, and I think C is just ruining. C doesn't feel he did a lot wrong there. I'm not sure if he did, but if Jaedong hadn't gotten that scout, how different would this game have been? I don't know, guys. It's tough to call. It's tough to tell. But I guess what I will say is that Jaedong played the game perfectly with the information that he had, and that is the hallmark of a champion. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. This is Klazart. What a fantastic game by the champion, Jaedong. And he's looking menacing, folks. He's really looking absolutely very dangerous. So I have no doubt he's going to storm through this group. C looking a little bit vulnerable versus Zerg there. I know he wasn't really given much of a chance by the champion, but I know I'm already calling him champion, but he wasn't given much of a chance, but he's looking a little bit vulnerable. I think Savior can take him. I think if Savior comes out on top, Savior can take him, and Jaedong just standing there for the post-match interviews. To the victor goes the spoils. So this is Klazart, guys. Thanks for listening.